Listen, you are starting to miss a life that you haven't even lived yet. Not dreaming about it, missing it. Places you've never been feel like memories. Moments that you haven't experienced feel familiar. And somehow the life ahead of you feels more recognizable than the life that you're living right now, right? Now let's talk about some of these things. You feel homesick for somewhere that you have never even lived before. It's not just simply wanting a bigger house. Something about a certain environment, it creates an emotional familiarity that you can't explain. This can be a particular neighborhood. It just feels like home, right? Or you see a view and it feels strangely emotional to you. Or you'll go somewhere and you just feel like, man, this is somewhere that I belong, right? Now, here's another one. You catch yourself missing mornings you've never experienced before. Not the money, the ordinary life around it. Waking up in the morning without that alarm. Drinking a cup of coffee without having to rush anywhere. Or having complete control over your mornings altogether, right? It's almost like you missed the freedom before you have even experienced it. Now, here's another one. You sometimes look at your current life like it's already an old photograph. You're still living it, yeah, but emotionally something feels ahead of it. Your current home suddenly feels temporary. Your daily commute, it feels like something that you're going to tell stories about one day, right? Or you catch yourself thinking, I'm going to remember these days one day, right? Now, here is another one. You begin mentally saying goodbye to things that haven't even ended yet. Nothing has happened, yet something inside you treats certain parts of your life like it's already becoming history. This can be like a familiar drive. It can be an old routine. It could be a place that you have been going to for years. You're mentally letting these things go, okay? Now, here's another one. You suddenly wonder who you will still know after everything changes, after you become wealthy, right? And it's not because anything has happened yet, but you're still wondering which friendships survive. You're still wondering who will still have access to you. You're still wondering who will remember the person you were before. It's like your mind is processing the after before there's even a before. Okay. Now here's another one. You picture yourself returning somewhere after becoming wealthy, right? This isn't imagining wealth itself. You're imagining the return when you do this. You're imagining walking back into your old neighborhood. You're imagining visiting somewhere that you used to work and seeing all your coworkers, right? You're imagining seeing people who knew you before everything changed. The emotional part, it isn't leaving, it's coming back. Right? Now, here's another one. You feel strangely emotional about the struggles that you're still experiencing right now. Normally, you would just want them gone, right? But occasionally, you look at them differently. You look at the financial pressure. You look at the exhausting schedules. You look at the things that you can't currently afford. And for a second, you think, one day I'm actually going to miss who I was during this time, right? Now, here's another one. You imagine telling your story backwards. Instead of asking how you'll become successful, your mind starts imagining yourself already successful, explaining how it happened. You're saying things like, that's where everything started. I almost quit right there. I had no idea that it was about to happen. That actually started happening right before I hit the jackpot. Things like that, right? It's like you're mentally remembering the present from an imagined future when you do this, okay? Now, here's another one. You think about the last time you'll do something without knowing when it will be the last time, right? And that thought, it just comes out of nowhere. You're thinking about this is the last shift I'm going to work. You're thinking about this is the last payment on something. Or you're thinking about this is the last morning that I'm going to wake up worrying about bills, right? Nothing has changed yet, but suddenly you start to realize that every chapter eventually has its final day. Okay. Now here's another one. You start imagining your family's reaction more vividly than your own. The future, it becomes emotional through other people's faces, telling someone they don't have to worry anymore, helping someone without checking your bank account first, right? Or watching someone realize that their life is about to change. That can feel more real than imagining the money itself, right? Now, here's another one, all right? You experience a strange sadness around things that you've spent years wanting to escape. This one is weird, I know, because you still want something better, but suddenly you appreciate what this version of life gave you, okay? The struggle, it built stories. The limitations, it made you creative. The waiting, it created hunger inside you. You haven't left yet, but you're already seeing this chapter differently from a whole different perspective, okay? Now, here's another one. You imagine problems that the only future you would have, okay? Instead of only fantasizing about getting money, your mind starts wondering into what happens afterwards, after you become wealthy. How much privacy will you want or need? Who will you be able to trust? Okay. How will you protect your time and your energy and your wealth? It's like your imagination moves beyond getting there to already living there. Okay. When you do this. All right. Now here's another one. You suddenly realize some things you want today wouldn't come with you when you become wealthy, okay? The future in your head begins editing itself when you do this. You're looking at certain possessions in your life that are going to disappear. You're looking at certain routines that aren't there anymore. You're looking at certain relationships that are going to start to look different. You're looking at certain people that aren't in your life anymore, right? See, the vision, it becomes less about adding everything and more about what no longer fits when you do this, okay? Now, here's another one. You mentally walk through a day after the breakthrough instead of the breakthrough itself, okay? I'm talking about no celebrations, no giant check, no dramatic announcements or anything like that. Just Tuesday. What time do you wake up? Where do you go on this Tuesday? What do you spend your afternoons doing on this Tuesday? It's like the ordinary future becomes more interesting than the moment the money arrives. Okay. Now here's another one. All right. You occasionally forget about your current financial limitations just for a second, not recklessly, mentally. Okay. You think about traveling, then you remember the costs. You picture helping somebody, then you remember your current budget, right? You consider something as through money is not like an obstacle at first, okay? And for a second, your mind operates from possibility before your current circumstances interrupts it, okay? That's actually your logical mind interrupting your intuition and your imagination, okay? Now, here's another one. You start thinking about the anomalies, okay? And what I mean when I say this, because this one is completely different from your just imagining frame, okay? You think about what you would tell people. You think about, would you quietly disappear after everything happens? You think about, would anybody know how much your life has changed? Even if you don't say anything, would people still know, right? It's like your mind starts exploring what wealth would mean beyond buying things, okay? All right. Now, here's another one. You feel connected to an older version of yourself that you have never even met yet. OK, not someone sending you instructions, more like imagining yourself decades from now looking backwards. All right. What would 70-year-old you remember? OK, and it would be things like, which decisions mattered in my life? OK, you're already 70 and you're wondering, what would you have done differently? Okay. What would you have stopped worrying about? Things like that. Suddenly, when you do these kind of things, today's problems, they start to look different when you look at it from that perspective, right? Now, here's another one. You start recognizing things you'd never buy, even if you became extremely wealthy, right? This is unusual because your vision becomes more specific when you do this, okay? You start thinking like, money wouldn't change certain values about me. You start wondering, some luxuries simply don't interest me when I become wealthy. You start saying things like, man, certain parts of my personality will stay exactly the same, right? It's like you're not just imagining rich, you're defining your version of being rich, okay? Now, I just wanted to make this video real quick. I know this was a real fast video, but I got to get ready to do some things real fast. And I really, truly appreciate you. All right. Now, thank you so much for tuning in to Millionaire Mindset, where everything happens in divine time by divine design. But you are the divine design. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment on this video, and hype this video up. Until the next video, Millionaire Mindset signing off.